Today, we're diving into the psychology of money, and it's a topic that's really sparked a huge debate. It pits our own personal habits against hard economic facts, and it asks a really provocative question. What truly controls your financial destiny?
So what's the secret to getting ahead with money? Is it all about mastering the math? The spreadsheets, the data, all that technical stuff? Or is it really about mastering your own mind, your behaviors, your habits, your entire outlook on things?
Now, this idea that your mindset is king has become incredibly popular, thanks in large part to Morgan Housel's book, The Psychology of Money. It's a global bestseller, and it's built on a pretty simple premise. How you behave with money is way more important than what you technically know about it.
But not everyone is buying it. Critics, like those at the American Institute for Economic Research, say, hold on a second. They argue this view is way too simplistic, that it ignores the basic economic rules that actually run our financial lives. And right there, that sets up this fascinating debate about where the real power is. Okay, so let's start by exploring this core idea, the money in your head. How do our internal thoughts and all of those behaviors actually end up shaping the numbers we see in our bank accounts?
And this quote right here, this is basically the whole book in a nutshell. Housel's argument is that financial success isn't a hard science like physics. It's a soft skill. Your behavior, not how smart you are, is the most important variable.
And here, you can really see the two camps laid out side by side. On one hand, you have the idea that finance is a soft skill. It's all about psychology. And on the other, you have the sharp critique that says, no, that's so simple it misses the point, that it ignores how money actually works.
So let's get a little more specific. How does our mindset directly shape our financial reality? Well, a lot of it comes down to a single question. Are you the one in control, or is everything that happens just up to chance?
And this brings us to a really important psychological concept, locus of control. It's basically your core belief about who's in charge of your life. Is it you, or is it the world and other people around you?
And this just illustrates the difference perfectly. An internal locus means you take ownership. I didn't prepare enough. But an external locus, that means you're assigning blame. The teacher doesn't like me. One of those mindsets empowers you to actually do something, while the other just leaves you feeling like a passenger in your own life. So why does this matter for your money? Well, people who believe their success is up to them, the ones with an internal locus of control, they're the ones who are more likely to work the extra hours or go get that certificate. And over a lifetime, that tends to lead to better jobs and better pay because they're taking action. Now, of course, critics of this idea would say that bigger economic factors like the job market or stagnant wages can definitely limit anyone's control. But still, the psychological data on how powerful this mindset can be is pretty compelling.
All right, so if our general mindset is the foundation, what about the specific mental traps that we all fall into? Let's dive into some of these cognitive biases that can quietly drain our wealth, drawing from some great research highlighted by Morgan Stanley.
So, the first big trap is something called loss aversion. In simple terms, it means we hate losing way more than we love winning. Think about it from an evolutionary perspective. For our ancestors, avoiding a predator was way more important for survival than finding one extra piece of fruit. That ancient wiring is still in our brains today, and it's a super powerful force that can really mess with our financial decisions. Just how powerful are we talking? Well, research suggests that the pain from a loss is about twice as intense as the pleasure you get from an equal gain. This bias is why we sometimes hold on to losing investments for way too long, just to avoid the pain of actually admitting it's a loss.
And this second hidden trap? Oh, it's the overconfidence bias. This is basically our ego telling us we're much better at something than we actually are. And let me tell you, that can be especially toxic when it comes to investing our money. Just look at this number. A survey cited in that Morgan Stanley report found that 74% of professional fund managers believe they are above average. It's statistically impossible for almost 3/4 of any group to be above average. That's just a perfect snapshot of overconfidence in action. Okay, so we spent some time looking inward. Now let's shift our focus to how money and class actually perform out in the real social world. Because believe me, what we see isn't always what we get. I love this quote from a Reddit thread where people were discussing their experiences with the upper class. It's so provocative, right? It suggests that maybe the one key ingredient to wealth is just a certain kind of boldness or confidence. But, as other people in that same discussion pointed out, it's often a lot more subtle than that. The truly wealthy often have this quiet confidence. Manners are a big deal. They almost never discuss money. And they tend to focus on experiences, not on showing off expensive things. It's like they're comfortable in their own skin, they have nothing to prove. And this connects perfectly to what Housel calls the man in the car paradox. It's this funny irony of trying to get admiration by buying flashy things. Because when we see someone in a fancy car, we don't admire them. Instead, we just use their car as a new benchmark for what we want for ourselves.
This quote just nails it. Housel makes this great distinction between being rich, which is really about spending, and being wealthy, which is all about what you don't spend. Wealth is the money you haven't spent. It's the assets that give you freedom and options down the road.
So, we've got our internal mindset, our hidden biases, and our social behaviors. What's the one single principle that ties all of this together and actually helps you build wealth?
It's this really simple but profound idea. True growth doesn't come from one big dramatic action. It's built from all the small, consistent habits that you repeat day after day after day. It's the simple but unstoppable power of compounding.
And this image is the perfect way to picture the whole idea. Your mindset, your sense of control, your humility, your focus on the long term, that's the first crucial piece of the puzzle. That mindset is what creates your habits. And over time, those compounding habits build your entire financial future. Which leaves us with one final thought to chew on. We all get the magic of compound interest when we talk about our investments, right? But the real lesson here is that our habits, which are driven by our psychology, they compound too. Every single day, they're either working for you or they're working against you. The only question is, which one is it?